So I'm here with Stephanie for this special testimonial, and she has an experience where she won a contest to meet Oprah Winfrey. It's really amazing. But Stephanie, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience. So you won this opportunity to meet Oprah Winfrey. So what did you win exactly?
It was Oprah's biggest fan contest, and it was her 25th year. When she was leaving, she did like a tour where she sent out. You could win a contest from each. What was it? State? I don't know how many. I think it was five,
Hmm.
but I won from Michigan. It was five of us, and I was one of the five. And you just had to write an essay about why you think you're Oprah's biggest fan. So yeah, it was weird because my sister is actually Oprah's biggest fan, but that's the thing. I wrote it, and when I opened up the screen from the news, it said, why are you in YOU, big bold letters. So I said, oh, that's me. But prior to that, I had been reading about Edgar Tolle, watching her every day, uh, just reading her book in her book club too. So I didn't consider myself the biggest fan, but I did love Oprah. But yeah, that's how I entered.
How did you win? How did this happen?
Okay, it was a contest and I entered through the news, Channel 7, Action News. And you just had to write an essay. So I wrote an essay about spirituality, Eckhart Tolle, manifestation, things like that. When they read it, they called me and said, "You've won the Oprah Biggest Fan Contest, which includes tickets to go to Chicago, stay in the Hotel the Omni, and also a chef will come to the house and cook for you. And I think it was 7 friends, and you would have a spot on the news, and you would be able to tell, have a story about how you won. And actually, the spot that we had was when Whitney Houston was last on the Oprah show. So the news cameras and everything was there with us and asking us how did we enjoy it. And yeah, it was really nice.
That's amazing. So I want to ask you about what it was like to meet Oprah and what she was like and what that experience was like. But before I get to that, so you did you ever think that you might win this contest?
No, no, I entered it. It's so crazy because I write down, I have a journal and I would write list of things I wanted to accomplish. And for me and other people that I know. And one was to get my sister Oprah tickets. And the reason why I did that, I was watching an Oprah show, an after show, and she had a young lady on there with her mom. And the young lady had a vision board. And on the vision board, she had a picture of her mom meeting Oprah. And I was like, oh, that's something in my wild, I wouldn't even imagine that. So she said something about just think of something out the box, something that you can't even see, that you can't touch, and just write down, things that you want to do. So I said, hey, my sister's been trying to go to the Oprah show since the 80s. I said, let me just go ahead and write this down, get her tickets. And I wrote a list of other things, but that was one of them.
Hmm.
And I just did it every night without even harping on it or trying to figure out how I'm going to get it. I did it every night for 2 years. So,
Hmm.
and it happened. Yep.
And did you, when you wrote it down, did you think about it? Did you visualize? As some people suggest that you should. Did you? Were you
What I,
thinking about it as well, or?
what I did at nighttime, I noticed I did have a vision maybe once or twice with me at a book signing. And my sister and I would be there and she would sign her book because that's the only way I could think to see her, and but as far as like really, I kind of just let it go. I wrote about it and let it go. And every night I did it. I didn't harp on it, try to figure out, search how do you meet Oprah Winfrey, none of that. I just, yeah, just I guess visualized it that one time and that was pretty much it. Yeah.
So you wrote it down for all this time, and then when it actually did happen, I mean, was that really surreal? Was that crazy?
Oh,
What was that like?
it was out of body. It was like an out of body experience because we won the tickets, but we didn't know we would actually meet her. So
Hmm.
the coordinator from Channel 7 News, I was in nursing school at this time. So she kept calling like, I need you to give me a date. But, nursing school is so strenuous where you can't even miss a day, you'll fail and things like that. So I talked to my instructor about it. She's like, well, what's more important to you? Meeting Oprah or being a nurse? I'm like, I don't know. But anyways, the coordinator called and she said, look, I want to get you in on this date. And she set up the date and I said, well, I'll make it happen. And yeah, we ended up going on, we had to drive to Chicago, from Detroit to Chicago, stayed in a hotel. What is that, the green room that you sit in, or the blue room? Is it the green room, I believe, that they have you sit in right before you go in? We had to hand
Hmm.
in our cell phones and, talk to people around us about how did you get here? How did you get your tickets? And then they came and they called my name. And my sister and I walked in the studio and it was amazing. It was like on TV. It was surreal. It just did not feel real. It was out of this world. And they told us to go sit in the bleacher, kind of like nosebleed seats in the top of the room. And I'm like, okay. So my sister and I are like, wait a minute, I want tickets. And we were the only ones being seated at this time. And so the lady that coordinated, I guess, for Oprah, she came and she found my sister and I. She said, why are you guys up here? Like, I don't know. They told us to sit here. She said, follow me. And we ended up sitting in the second row, like right by the stage. So yeah, it was like, wait a minute, is this real? But it was just out of this world. I couldn't even imagine how it happened. I wouldn't even dreamt of this. But yeah, she came out, and when she came out, she didn't have her shoes on. She had her shoes in her hand, and she waved at everybody. Of course, my sister, she's screaming, I'm screaming, And then after the show, she did like a what do you call that? Like a fashion show, like a makeover show.
Huh.
And so afterwards, she was taking pictures with some of the guests that were her makeover, people. So my sister was like, why aren't we taking a picture with her? I said, I don't know. I said, but we're going to think positive. Let's just think positive. So a young lady came from the back and she said, ladies, follow me. And we walked to the back and we went through the double doors and the studio. I sent a picture to you too of the studio. And we saw her hairdresser and her stylist, and they were sitting down. It was like, what are you guys doing here? We told them who we were. And then the next thing you know, the coordinator said, don't go crazy when you see Oprah, just be calm, don't go ballistic. And so Oprah walked in, we turned around, and my sister was like, ah! And then Oprah said, ah, like she's funny. She just made fun of us. Ah! So she started screaming. And we were like, oh my God, is this real? And she said, yes, this is real. And then she just asked me how, she said, how did you guys win? And I told her about the essay I wrote. And I mentioned Eckhart Tolle. And she said, don't you just love him? She said, I have a book for him. I mean, he just sent to me. She said, would you like the book? And that's how we got into her office. Yeah, we got into her office.
You got into her office. Oh my gosh, what was that like?
She ended up telling one of her assistants to go get the book. And then she said, you know what? Never mind. They can come with me. So my sister, we're looking like, wait a minute, we're walking. So we walked behind her and she like grabbed our hands. We got on a private elevator. It was her, security guard, the cameraman, because it was a man just taking pictures of us. And the young lady that came and got us, I guess her coordinator or assistant. Mm-hmm. But we were on the elevator like, wait a minute, is this real? And we got off the elevator. We walked through her dressing room and my sister saw her shoes on the table. She touched them, I was like, don't do that. They told us not to do any of that, act right. So we got through, and she had us sit at her desk. And when we sat at her desk, it was like we saw pictures of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, just a bunch of people that she had, Maya Angelou, and just just sitting there like in just photo frame. I'm like, oh my God, are we sitting in the right spot? It just, and then she talked to us about our history. She just, showed us around her office, showed us her Golden Globes, her Emmys, and she just explained everything to us about her pictures. She had a lot of art, and she had one art on a wall. It was like the size of a wall, and it was a picture of a slave and her daughter, a Black woman and a daughter, and she explained how she got it, and she had her wall. It specifically fit the wall when she got it. She said that was just weird how that happened for her. And she was just so nice, just the nicest. You wouldn't even, she was more interested in us too. Like, so what do you guys do? And she asked us a lot of questions.
She asked you a lot of questions?
Yeah, she did. She asked, my sister has a dog, and, her dog Sadie was there. She asked my sister her dog's name. I explained to her how I started writing and journaling. She asked me, what did I write? She was just really interested in us, which was different. Yeah, it was nice.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. I mean, really, we see people on television, and she's one of the most iconic people in the world. So to actually meet her and interact with her, I mean, I'm like a fly on the wall listening to you.
Yeah. It's like I was thinking all the whole time, like, I'm just a girl from Detroit. Like, what did I do to get this, in this space? And I'm just like, oh, well. And it was even more than the fact that it was just Oprah. It really blew my mind that I wrote this down and it happened. Like, it in the way it happened, we didn't have to pay for anything. It blew my mind. Yeah. I still think about it. It happened so long ago in 2009, but I still, think about it sometimes like, wow, I can't believe that happened.
And have other things happened that you wrote down that came true?
Oh, well, yeah. Almost my whole life, I've always wrote things, but things I could see happening. Like, I wanted to be a nurse, became a nurse. But at the time that I thought of being a nurse, I worked at we call it the Big Three here in Detroit, Chrysler, Ford, and GM. So that's a good job. You get that job, you get a pension, you get so many benefits and profit sharing and things like that. But I wanted to do more. So I was like, oh, I want to be a nurse. And just out of the blue, I wrote it down. Oh, that would be so great, to be a nurse and, spend more time with my daughter, because we were working a lot of hours. And the reason a buyout came along, just, even though we were suffering in the economy, but still I looked at it as oh my God, this is something that I can do. The first time I saw it, I was like, no way, because they offer maybe 3 or 4 of them. So I took the second one, and it just dawned on me, you've been writing for a long time. You wanted to be a nurse. I even went to school while I was at the plant. So that was one big one for me. And I met other people as well that I wrote about. Tabitha Brown, I don't know if you know, she's like a social influencer, social media influencer. She's vegan. I wrote that down. I met her last year, as a matter of fact. But goodness, it's a lot of things that I wrote. Just look, even the little things, it's like, oh my God. I don't know.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. So, and just to clarify, you didn't you mentioned a restaurant at the beginning. You didn't actually eat a meal with Oprah, right? It was her chef that did.
Yeah, and here in Detroit, they had Vincent's Joel is a restaurant in this area. And I guess they hired them to come to each contest winner's house with a chef, and they cook for you, and like 7 friends. And at the same time, the news is there. So we're enjoying the meal, and then it's during Oprah. So Oprah used to come on at 4, so they stay with us from 4 to 5, asking us little questions in between, the commercial breaks and things like that.
So they came to your house along with the news outlets, and then Oprah was on the television, and then you watched that, and
yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. What did it feel like to actually win?
Well, how did it feel?
Mm-hmm.
Oh goodness, I just never imagined it. It felt euphoric. It felt I can't even put it in words. It's like a feeling of energy. It's the whole thing was like I was on a high. I don't even remember everything, but it felt awesome. It still feels, when I think about it, I still have thoughts about it sometimes, and it's still like, hey, my dad, he was just talking to me yesterday about it, and I told him about, the interview, and he's like, that was a huge thing, and I'm like, yeah, Dad, it was a huge thing, and sometimes when things happen so good, he's like, what more could I get, and I have more. I'm still wanting more, so but yeah, it felt great.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. Well, I know this was a few years ago, but not too long ago, but congratulations again. That's amazing.
Well, thank you, Timothy. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to say about this or about your experience that I don't know enough to ask, or that you just wanted to say?
I would say that once I started reading about spirituality and the soul, and about my life changed. Before that, I was just walking around, they call willy-nilly, just like letting everything happen, and just wanting things I can see. But as far as wanting things that is out of it, like even talking to you, honestly, because I saw you in 2020 when it was really bad during the COVID, surge and all the things. I was actually sick from COVID, so I was kind of down. And I remember watching you and your interviews with all, people who actually manifested things in their life, you yourself at a young age. And I'm like, oh my God, and I wrote something in a comment and you answered back. And I was like, oh my God. Like, it's just like, I felt like, okay, now God, that we're all connected. And I feel like as long as you dream, or not even dream about it, if something you want to accomplish, it can happen. You just have to be, to me, in the right frequency for it to happen. And that's when things started changing for me, when I started looking at you and I started saying, oh my goodness, he did this, or he interviewed this person, and I watched all your interviews, and he's amazing. So I was like, I wrote in one of your comments, I said, well, I manifested some things in my life. So I said, one day I'm going to interview with Timothy. But I was thinking maybe on a lottery thing, or, something. But then I thought about it, and then you came back and you said, anyone feel like they had any experiences with that? And so where did that come from? That's God. So when I wrote you and you responded, I was like, oh my God, we all are connected. And, if I wanted to share this story too, I know it's happened long ago, it was 2009, but it's still something that I feel that, people around me know, but maybe more people could be inspired by it and know that they can, reach their dreams. And and just be happy. You know, I find I'm very silly and you know, I like to have fun and so I feel like that energy comes around me. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. Just encourage everyone.
Well, that's very inspiring and beautiful, and thank you so much. I mean,
Oh, you're
that's
welcome.
amazing, and I agree with you. I think we all are connected if you talk about the spiritual aspect of things. So yeah, thank you so much, and congratulations again on this experience. It's extraordinary. So thank you so much for taking the time to share it today.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. No problem. It was exciting talking to you too. I'm going to write this down as well.
Yes, yeah.
And I will see you again with something huge. That's how I really feel. So it's just the beginning.
I look
For all
forward to. Well, we definitely look forward to that. Is there anything else that you wanted to say today about it?
I know. I will say this. I do remember after I took the buyout from Chrysler and I was still writing things I wanted to do, went to Disney World. I wanted to take my daughter to Disney World. She was 6 at that time. And we went to Universal, the Hollywood theme park, and it was a statue of Oprah. So I took a picture next to a statue of her. And my mother-in-law took a picture next to her too. And it was like, oh, okay. I'm like, wow, I took a picture with her. I put it on Facebook. And then after that night, we were at the Epcot Center when they have a globe, and the globe goes across the water, and it shows like the continents and the different areas of the world. And it was beautiful, and it was surreal. It was an emotional experience. I started to cry, and I heard a voice, and I don't know, I can't say a voice, but I felt a voice. I always say I heard a voice. People think that's weird, but I felt a voice said, you ain't seen nothing yet. And I'm like, it came out of nowhere. And I said, oh yeah, I'm about to be a nurse. Because I was already in nursing school. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And it was like, you ain't seen nothing yet. And 2 months later, that's when I met her. Yeah.
So that happened 2 months before meeting her in real life?
Yeah.
Or before we
In real life. 2 months. Yeah, wow. 2 months later. Yeah. I met her in, was it October? And that happened it happened in August. So I met her in October.
Had you entered the contest?
No. I didn't even know it was a contest. A friend of mine, actually, as I was writing this every night, one of my best friends called me because she had a friend who had extra tickets to go see Oprah. And she said, I have one more. I said, oh my God. I said, well, I could give it to my sister. So I called my sister. She's screaming, yeah, I'll take that ticket. So my friend called me back and said, oh, I'm sorry. The girl doesn't have the ticket anymore. I'm like, oh. And I called my sister and I told her I'm working on it. I didn't even have a clue the contest was going to be, come out a month later or so. But I told my sister I'm working on it. And she was like, okay. And then all of it just like lined up, everything like just lined up for me. And I didn't even ask for it, really. I just asked for that specific thing. And it was just ways. I mean, I got a chance to have dinner. I have a recording of us on the news. And it just the way it happened, I couldn't even imagine it. Yeah. So that is part of it, too. So
that's incredible. Well, thank you very much for sharing. So you hope that Oprah hears this?
I hope she does, because I want you to meet her. Because I feel like it's something big in your life you're going to have. It's just the beginning, and I don't know. I don't know. So that's why I'm like, oh, I hope she hears this. So maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I'm always hoping for the best.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, she's incredible, and yeah.
Have you ever reached out to her or a team or?
No, they reached
have a
out.
story like
Oh,
huge, like the youngest lottery winner, and I'm talking to a lottery winner. So you have a huge story.
oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, so, I mean, you do too, though. You get to meet Oprah. It's amazing.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this testimonial. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of this interview? I love checking out your comments. Now, if you have a story of overcoming the odds or anything that you want considered for this podcast, Lottery, Dreams, and Fortune, go ahead and email my team today. I will put a link to the email address in the description of this video. There are new interviews coming soon. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when they come out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support.